Hello everyone, this is Rishi here. Are you guys able to hear me properly? Please let me know. I'm also sharing my screen. Yes, okay. Thank you so much for your confirmation. So yeah, let's get started with today's session. I also started the recording as well. And before we dive in, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes just to answer your questions if you have any regard. Yesterday topics or any other issues, please let me know in just 2 minutes. Okay, so I'll take that as no questions.
Rishi, it's Tom. Can you hear me?
Hi Tom, please let me know.
Yeah, Rishi, listen, I was very sick for a couple of weeks or more. I could not follow the courses. How long will I have access to the systems? I need to check plenty of things.
Okay, so system access, you mean for the on-premise?
Yeah, on-premise and like SAP and Eclipse. And,
okay. So on-premise, I believe it will be till end of this month. And cloud, anyway, you will have access for a year because that is a trial account. So you can work there also, even if you do not have on-premise access. So as far as I know, it will be till December end. You will have on-premise, but cloud you will have anyway free trial for 1 year.
Can I purchase this on-premise access?
Yeah, you need to buy it from a vendor. Yes, you can do that.
So I write to.
Yep. Yeah, you can write to us. We will let you know if you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Hi, Rishi.
Hi.
Just want to get an example for multiple line item creation yesterday, like whatever you did.
We did right yesterday?
Yeah, multiple items at one go.
The same example will work, however we did yesterday.
Okay, because when we create a single line item, we press save and then that one line item gets populated to the internal table, right? So
okay, so you mean to say at the time to create in the same screen more than one line item, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that feature is not available for unmanaged scenario, so without draft. Okay, if you make it enabled as a draft, as soon as you click on create, it will add a new line to the existing table. Okay. So you have to enable draft capabilities, just like how we did for unmanaged. You can enable draft capabilities similar to like that. So that will. So you have to click on create, and when you come back, you can see the line added at the end. You can add your details. That will work. Yeah.
Rishi, this is Prasad.
Hi, Prasad.
Are you going to? Would there be any possibility to show APIs using from an external application, even just using it from something like client?
Calling an API from a different system.
Yeah.
Okay. So thing is, I could show. I have one example which is already in my YouTube channel, but I can take that example. My only concern is I can share the code as well, no problem. My only concern is, since it is a trial account, right, I'm not sure whether we are allowed to make calls to external system with HTTP protocol or via, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure. What I can do is I'll share you the code, because that's not planned in the course, but I can share the code how to call
Yeah.
an API from ABAP. Just like
That,
how we call from ABAP, you
yeah.
can directly call from your method, like create, update, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a Postman example or something like that, that would be great.
Okay, so I'll share the code.
And then the
And yes,
second item is, I'd asked for like the shortcuts. I don't know if you had a chance to put something together, or you already have some kind of a cheat sheet for shortcuts.
right now I do not have availability. I can do a quick search
Okay.
and
Yes.
share it.
Okay. If you have it, yeah. Or if
Yeah,
you.
I believe, yeah, last group I think we have shared one, so I'll check with the team if we have
Oh,
any document. Yeah,
that'll be awesome. Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Okay, for the questions in the early session, so let's dive into our today's topic, and I'll explain what are the application that we are going to develop and how we are going to consume this in a business application studio. Okay, so today we'll also start with business application studio. So let me unmute everyone, then we'll dive into the topic. Okay. So as you're already aware, what we are going to discuss is today we are talking about developing Fury app overview page application. Okay, so just by executing this application, so customer, whoever, can make quick decisions by looking at the data that is from a different database sources, different tables, different resources. That could be a combination of different tables related to purchase order or a business object or anything, right? So for example, if I look at this particular purchase, purchase overview application. Okay, so I could see what are the purchase documents which are on priority just by looking at this chart, to make sure to take my decision, like how many are pending and how many are on low priority, and it's based on that they can take actions. And also we see, if you want to analyze how much budget is allocated for each purchase order, whether it is cross the budget or within the budget, whether it's over the budget, that kind of stuff also we can see in the list card, which is a bar format. Okay, we see the bar chart according to the percentage that is used. Okay, so here if I just look at it, where it is created 2 months ago and what is the purchase document number, how much budget it is utilized, which is 25% of the budget. So let's say I have fixed the budget for $1,000 and we have spent only $250, so you would be able to see 25% of the total budget. So for each purchase document you can fix that kind of amount, so you can do that calculations in the consumption view, and expose that to as a this list card. And also with the purchase document list table card, just a table simple card, just to show the purchase documents, how many purchase documents are there. And also purchase documents, another list card which is standard type. Here it is a bar chart type, it is a standard type. So this you'll be able to see what are the purchase documents which are pending for approval. So this kind of analysis that we can do, use this overview page application to make quick decisions about the purchase documents that we are working on. One more thing, in analytical card, you see this priority, and we have a switched view here. So you can also look at by priority or also by status as well. So we are going to add the switch capability within this donut chart as well. And I want to emphasize here, this kind of example you will not find in SAP blocks or even in SAP books as well. This is something I have done on my own by researching, like by finding what are the capabilities that I can add to this particular analytical card. It's hard to find in SAP blocks even this kind of example without code. Especially in Business Application Studio, you will not see creating this kind of application in anywhere so far in SAP blocks or anywhere. Okay, and remaining things, the bar chart are also, yeah, this is kind of example overview page application you will not see anywhere using ABAP RESTful programming that I can guarantee at this stage. There is no proper example in SAP blocks as well. Create an overview page with ABAP RESTful programming model and with this kind of analytical cards and budget cards. Okay. So what we need to understand is, first we need to understand how we need to show those values. So what are the data sources behind each card that we need to understand, right? For suppose if I take an analytical card, so I have to create a CDS view on top of my existing CDS view by enabling what are the fields I want to show and what are the, suppose if you see here by status, how many purchase documents are there. It's a key performance indicator, we can say KPI. That means you will show, a overall number that is related to the donut chart that we are looking at here. So 27 records are there, and so you show what kind of values that you want to show. Here you see created /1, open /2. So these are status and their key value. So status text and their key value. So that kind of values we have to keep it in your consumption view. Okay. Similarly, list card as well. We'll create one more application, one more CDS view, and add metadata related to this donut charts and bar charts and all. So the main important thing is adding the proper annotations which are required for this donut chart and bar chart and etc. So I'm going to show how to create these 3 cards, and I'll give one more card for an exercise so that you get familiar with how the process is for creating overview page application. Okay. So one important thing is adding this this analytical card won't be sufficient. So it's always good to have a filter. So based on this filter, user can see the values getting changed on the go. So that means if you just typing priorities, based on the priority, automatically the cards will get refreshed. Okay. So if I can show you, let me open if I have it open. So if I look at here, let me open the app that we are going to create. If it's possible here in this video. Okay, it's not part of it. I don't want to spend much time on that, because I just want to say if you add filters here when you're typing priority or status based on the values that you're entering, automatically these cards get refreshed. Okay, that is the one feature we can add to this overview page application. It's not just a feature, it is actually mandatory to have filters because we are working in real time. So for now we have only 37 records or 27 records. In real time we'll be looking at huge number of records. So it's not good to have without filter to show all the overview page application. So it consumes a lot of time. So that's the reason we specify priority and status as a filter, so that based on that you can filter the values or the card information which is there. So you can align these cards according to, you can change these cards by changing the position of their alignment within the application as well. You can keep the cards wherever you want. So this kind of information or flexibility you have it in overview page application. So this app I'm going to develop in on-premise, and also what we do is we try to create a OData service, service on top of these cards or the consumption view. So we will access that in Business Application Studio and add this donut chat and with switch capabilities in the first half, and in the second half we will try to add budget and also the pending for approval CDS view. Okay. So let me log into my on-premise system. So if you remember our data model which we have discussed initially for our managed scenario application, or list report application, take it list report application because it is a read only. So we use the same model. Okay, so what I mean is whatever the model which is already there, we will not disturb it. So what we do is we create on top of these CDS views, consumption views, which are required for our resource, our cards. So we will not disturb those CDS views. So all we do is we create on top of the existing CDS view. So I'm creating one package for this application. So I'll start with creating the filter initially. So if you look at here, the first step we need to do is creating the filter here. So we need to have a consumption filter view with F4 help capabilities, and we need to bind it in the application. So that's what we have to do. So first about what I will do is I'll create a CDS view. So we have already the package. I'll create the CDS view, code data services, so data definition, click on next, and I'll name this as a filter value. So this is something I need to give it as a filter. So within this naming convention, what I will do, I'll provide this as the Rishi OVP filter V1 filter for the overview page, and click on next, save it in a TR and finish. So this is a filter, you can bind any CDS view with the values. If it is having status and priority, you can bind any CDS view. Okay, you can take the existing CDS view. What I will do is I'll create a separate CDS view with blank values. So I will not, I will declare some default values. So let me show you how I do. Okay, this looks like an entity because the template was by default chosen as entity. It's not a data definition. Let me remove this one and create again. So data definition, go next, choose data definition, define view, click on finish. Okay, provide say filter OVP, and I'll take it from a CDS view which is already there. So this is a interface view which is already there. We have this interface view which is part of our existing model, and if I look at here, we have this purchase status and all this information. So I will take some of literal values. What I will say is I'll say as purchase priority, as so these two fields will be mapped to the all the series. What we have to do is sorry, what are the fields that we have here? These should be mapped to the filter. That means when I enter a values on top of the series view, these fields will go as a filter to the underlying series view. So you should have the same names as your underlying series view. That means suppose you have created, you have binded this series view to this particular F4 helps, and when you apply F4 help, so this is the series view gets executed, budget or whatever it is. Okay, so under this series view you have the same fields here, purchase document and purchase priority. Then only this filter will apply on top of that series view. So that's why I'll keep the same name for the other series view as well. Purchase status, and save this one. For this we have to add filter. So what is the annotation we need to add for filter? Can somebody answer? What is the annotation we need to specify for filter? So how do we add filter for an existing field in a CDS view? What is the annotation we need to use? Filter in the sense, I mean, let me rephrase it. Adding F4 values. So adding F4 help to the filter that we have. On click of F4, I should get the values. What is the annotation to bind our F4 help to the field? UI searchable true, no. UI selection, that is just to show it as a filter. We cannot have F4 help. If you use UI selection, fine, that will appear as a selection value, but on click of F4 I should get the values. So how do you bind F4 values to your select option in Fury using annotation? Oh, fuzzy, that is for fuzzy search. Okay, Salman, consumption value have, that's very close. Yeah, so we have to use consumption value help definition. Okay, so this is one we have to use. If you enter any value, suppose I need to, on F4 I want to show some values based on the suppose for all the statuses which are there. So we have to take a CDS view which is already there with those values, and we have to specify the CDS view name here. So that's it. Okay, here I need to specify the name of the CDS view. I'll take, there is one already CDS view which is GRESTful priority. Let's keep it in single quotes, and I need to bind a value also. What is the value that I want to give? The element will be priority. Save. So I click on F4. This is the CDS view which gets called. Okay, and that the list will appear within this. And when I searching for the status, okay, in order to show the suggestions as well, what is the annotation I need to do? What is the process that we need to follow? What is the annotation? When I'm trying to search, a suggestion should automatically come. I should have the search capabilities. What is the annotation we need to use? So the fuzzy search we need to enable, that's correct. So fuzzy search we also enable within this CDS view. So then only we'll be able to get the, execute the fuzzy search on top of this. So let me open this. Okay, we do not have this one. You see. Let me check if I have the CDS view for this. Okay, I do not have the CDS view. Let me check. There is one more CDS view. Okay, I have one CDS view for status. So I'll add for status. Okay, so for purchase priority, you can do the similar. You can do the same thing that I have done. So let me remove it for purchase priority because I did not find the CDS view. Okay, it's locked. Let me unlock this. So my CDS view got locked. I'm trying to unlock this. Now we have to edit this one. This is my CDS view with filters. I'll remove this value and copy paste it for the status. Okay, so here I'll add the CDS view for my PO status. Status VH value help. So whenever you create any F4 help related CDS views, it is always good practice to end the name with VH. That means value help. So whenever we see that particular CDS view, you can quickly identify that okay, this CDS view is related to the PO status. And save and do a syntax check and activate. So if we look at in this particular CDS view, GC RESTful status, we have already enabled the search capabilities with searchable true, and also we have enabled fuzzy search as well. Okay, so you are already familiar with this. That's why I'm not explaining. And so we are done with adding the F4 help. This CDS view is ready. So there is nothing complex for this one. What we need to do is we just need to add the annotations which are required for this. So UI annotation to show them as a filter value. So I'll create a metadata file on top of this. I'll say GC OVP filter V1, same name as our CDS view for the metadata as well. Metadata for PO filter, and click on next. Next and finish. So here we'll add the values, whatever required. So we need to have our UI selection, right, to show them as a selection fields. 10. And I will show this one. I'll take the purchase document priority and also the purchase status. I'll keep this as a second UI field. So adding filter is one thing, adding F4 help is a different thing, okay? So for F4 help we use consumption filter. So that is not a UI annotation, that's why we are adding at the consumption view level only, not in the metadata. Okay, so save it, and we have to add metadata extension allowed true. Then only we can add the annotations. Let me add that as well. Save this. So we should have a key value here. It is mandatory. So let's add one purchase document here. Anyway, we do not want to show this purchase document, so I will hide it from the list. So any idea what is the annotation to use, to hide the particular value? How to hide the UI field? Any idea? UI hidden true for purchase document. And activate this one. So our F4 help is ready. So all we need to do is we just need to bind this to my filter in my overview page application. So this is okay. Let me add other annotation as well, just to here I'll add what is the annotation? We need to add the label for this one, so I'll add it. Purchase priority, and here I'll add it as purchase status. Activate. So our consumption filter is ready. Just a second, guys. So the next one is, so we are done with our purchase filter OVP. Next thing we need to do is, I will add an analytical card here. So what are the fields that are required for analytical card? Let's see. So I'll create one more analytical card. So I'll create all the serious view. At the end I will bind it. Or else what happens is, when you try to consume the serious view, right, whatever the initial service that you consumed, those serious only will be part of our service. So if you try to add new serious views into that, so it's not, it not gets refreshed with whatever the serious view that we added for now. That's the reason I'll create all the serious views and expose them in a service. I will directly try to consume them. Okay, so I'll create one more serious view for my analytical card. Okay, what are the fields which are part of analytical card? So this is to view the statuses by priority and status, right? I'll say OVP Prio status V1. And purchase OU by status and priority. Go next. Go next. And finish. So name your serious view. Sorry, SQL view, GC, OVP, and PN status. And what is the data source? I have already one data source which is just contains purchase documents and details of the text, status, and all the details. I'll do insert all elements. I'll take what are the fields which are required for me. Okay, I'll take purchase document description, status, priority, company code changed by, these are all not required. Okay, also purchase items I do not want here. So what I will do is I will try to access the status text and priority, right? So how do I access status text and priority from here? Can anybody tell me? So how do I access the status priority? So let me show you the CDS view as well, so you can guess what is the, how do we access the status text within this CDS view. Okay. So I want other to answer, please. Any idea how do we access? So if you look at this CDS view, I want to access the status text as well. Okay. So we can use association, correct? So we already have the association available here. So all we need to do is by using that association, which is status, I can directly call the text, which is already there in other CDS view. Okay, when I do control space, I see the text as well. So similarly for purchase priority, for priority also you can access just by specifying your association text. Okay, now I got the status and status priority, sorry, status text and priority text as well. So here it is saying we already have duplicates, well, variables. I'll say status text, and I'll keep it as priority text. Okay, save this one and syntax activate. So when I execute this CDS view, I can see only the purchase document description and the relevant status text. Okay, we have all three here. Now, so we have this available. Now my what do you call analytical card required fields are required. So we are not sure about the annotation that we are supposed to add it. Okay, so there is one more field which is required. Okay, if you look at this particular donut chart, you see there is a number here which is the KPI value. So we need to show the sum of the status priorities which are there in my documents, right? So this, for this sum, we need to have an aggregation for the sum, the number of records which are there for this CDS view, just to have the count. So we need to do a aggregation. So how do I count it? So if I just specify, let's make it as a value for each row. Okay, I'm specifying a value for each row. I'll say sum of documents. Okay, when you execute this one, let me activate. So you see the counter for each row, right? So 1 1 1 1. Okay, so sum of documents 1. So if I make this sum, like, I'll get 3. That means 3 records are there, right? So that is how we can analyze. Sorry. So I need to make this as a sum. So how do I make this sum? You can use an aggregation called aggregation annotation dot default. You can specify what is the annotation, sorry, what is the aggregation you want. So I want sum. Okay, so when you are consuming this via service, this gets calculated as a sum as a whole. So when you execute this, you will not see, but when you're consuming within your application, this will be treated as a aggregation value. Okay, so we have these files, fields ready. The next thing is we need to add the annotations. Okay, this is the important one. So this is how we need to flow. First, we need to identify what are the fields you want to show as part of that card, and next you need to decide whether you want to display it as a list card or bar chart or whatever. And then you create a metadata file on top of it, with required annotation. So however you want to show your, card. Okay. Now we'll add the metadata file for status as well, priority status. And keep the same name. Priority status metadata, and click on next. Next and finish. So I'll make this as core. And what are the fields you want? Just do a control space, insert all the elements, and you try to add the required annotations. You can remove this from here. And do we have the metadata annotation here? No. Let me add that. Metadata allowed extension true. Activated. Now come here and add your required UI fields. Okay. So in order to add, so we want to show a donut chart, right, which contains this, the type of the chart is donut. Okay, so we have to add the chart UI annotations. They are always specific at the view level. Okay, you should not specify at the field level. The scope is always at the view, it's not at the element level. So what is the view that we need to use? So that is UI chart. So it is an array which contains some values. Okay, that we are clear based on the template. So first we need to add the qualifier details. Let me add and explain one by one. First I'll add it. Purchase doc priority. And what is the title? Purchase document priority. So what is the chart type? I want to make it as a donut chart. And dimensions. We need to specify what are the dimensions. So I'll say dimensions. I'll take purchase prior. I'll explain just a minute. And also what is the other value? I want to show purchase text as well. You need to specify the attributes for the same. Purchase prior. And role should be category. So when you are defining this attribute. And what is the next one? We have dimension for text as well. I'll make it as prior to text. And category should be category. So role should be category. And we also need to specify the measures. Measures are something which contains a numerical value or integer values, so that could be showed as a KPI value here as studied. Now I'll take one more. I will add one more property. Measures. Here I'll say this is the measures that we need to consider. And we have to specify what are the attribute it should have. So this is the one. And the attribute should be axis 1. Okay, so this is for the purchase priority only. Okay, so here we need to always have a qualifier to identify this particular element within the annotation. Okay, for this particular properties. First one is we are specifying what is the chart type. So qualifier is a unique identifier. Title we need to specify what is the chart type, whether it is donut chart or any other line chart, whatever. So the next one is dimensions and dimension attributes. Dimensions are something you already, if you are familiar with views in HANA. So we will have dimensions and measures. So dimensions are nothing but your which tell you the descriptive details of your particular fields, which is priority text or whatever priority or whatever it is, status or whatever. That means you explain something about that fields. But whereas measures will give you a number, that kind of information like total number of records, what is the total revenue, that kind of stuff, right? So we had to map these fields, whatever within our CDS view, to this particular chart. So that's the reason we have created dimensions and measures. So for dimension, what we are telling, what is the dimension for this part? So what are the dimensions in this particular CDS view? We have purchase priority and priority text, which are required, and we are adding the attributes to this particular properties. So only role is we are adding here. So you are telling for this dimension purchase priority, the role should be category in order to show that value in the donut chart. So that's the category we need to choose for priority text and also our role here. So if you observe here within my donut chart, you see here that there are little check boxes here, right? Those are the categories that you are specific. We are mentioning that these are come under category for this priority text and one. Also measures, as I mentioned earlier. So this is the one value which contains the total value of this particular purchase documents when you are executing. So this measure should be considered. So we are telling we are adding role as axis 1 for this one as well. Okay. So this is only for priority only. So we did not add it for status. Okay. That is also something we need to do. So it is very simple. Just like how you added for this one, we need to do the same thing for priority status as well. And I'll copy this one till here and I'll paste it here. I'll just simply change the values accordingly. So the qualifier will be the name that I need to specify. It could be anything, and purchase document by purchase document status. Here I'll mention it as purchase prio, sorry, purchase text, sorry, status, and status text. I'm just replacing with the values, the dimensions which are required. So purchase priority, and I'll say purchase status, and category will be the same, and text will change, status text. And measure will be the same because we want the same measure for both the purchase document and the status as well. So now we need to add further annotation. This is for the chat. Okay, this is done. Now we need to also have few more annotations. Let me add those. So in order to show this particular sum of the documents as a KPI, we also have to mark this sum of the document field as a KPI value. Okay, so that is something we need to take care. So for this I will add UI. There is an annotation called KPI. So we will tell this, okay, this is the presentation variant for the qualifier. That means when you specify this particular value as a qualifier, this particular sum will be binded to our KPI value within our card here. Okay, that is how it will be mapped. So here I need to specify default presentation variable qualifier. Just give a name for this KPI as well. My KPI. Save this. And this should be appear as a number. Okay, this should be appear as a number. So I'm asking one more question here. Please everybody pay attention. If you remember our read application, right, list report application, which is read only, when we navigate to item data, so we have this headings, right, with priority status text. We have highlighted them, right? So what was the annotation we have added to highlight those fields in the header, in the object page of the item, object page of the list report? When you navigate from a list report, you see that status is highlighted, in bold letters or a bigger font. What was the annotation that we have added? Criticality is to bind the color properties. So yeah, data point, Vimala, correct? So data point is something we have to use it so that those values appear as bigger font or whatever, just to highlight those particular fields. So I will specify the data point for this one as well. I'll maintain visualization also as number, and this is a number for this. Just a moment, guys. I have to plug my charger. Just a moment. Okay. Yeah. Sorry for the delay. So here I need to add the KPI annotation as well. So there are other annotations which are required. So when we are trying to map it to your donut chart, it expects some annotations, which are one of those annotation is, let me remove the purchase document as well, identification annotation. Okay. This is something we need to provide, and label as purchase document. So I have removed that purchase document, sorry. So we should always have one identification annotation as well, or else it will throw an error that there is no identification annotation. So this is the one. And also we need to add for our status text as well. So I'll add some text arrangement fields. So this will take only the text for this particular purchase status, and remaining thing I do not have to show it, okay? Because we are already telling for this particular status only take the text, okay? And the text arrangement, text only. Data point visualization is also done, also KPI is done. So there is one annotation which is left. Once you have added this KPI, okay, you also have to specify at the view level that we have one KPI. How do you want to display that? So when I say this is a presentation variant, right, that we have specified qualifier. So this is a presentation value that we need to give it here, presentation qualifier value. So we'll add some values such as group by. So when you are doing the sum, we have to specify how do you want to group it. Okay, so that is what I am specifying here. Once it is done, you need to add the qualifier as this particular KPI. Okay, and how do you want to visualize this? That is also I can specify. Visualization, and what is the element that you want to display in the KPI value? That is nothing but our sum of document. Okay, so this is it for our donut chart. Let me save this and activate this. And if you look at the values here, so you will not see anything here until unless we consume this particular service in my business application studio. So till this it is okay. So do we get any lag in my voice? I hope the voice is clear, the connection is good. So let me guys, are you able to hear me? Is my voice proper? Okay, connection is good. Okay, let me open the SAP GUI. I think my object is locked because of the timeout. Let me open that. 12 and I'll remove the lock. Okay, and I'll go back here and save this one and activate. Okay, this is activated. The other CDS view I want to add is the bar chart. Okay, list bar chart. This is something also we have to create on top of another CDS view. So the main motto of this bar chart is to see how much the purchase document consumed the total budget out of the total budget for each purchase document. Okay, for each purchase document I'll allocate some budget, let's say $1,000. So out of $1,000 how much is being spent, that is also I'll specify here. So let me create one more CDS view. So we consume these two CDS views, okay, and I'll try to add it in the business application studio. The next one is purchase doc priority. So I'll say pure budget utilization. Click on next, and finish. Okay, here you can see ZC. I'll maintain it as a value, like let's say PO budget. I'll select from the existing data source which is already there, which is my purchase dot total price. We have already this view. Okay, if you remember in our list report, we have already this view. I'm just creating on top of them. So I'll add the fields which are required and I'll remove fields which are not required. So we need total price, currency is required, and purchase description, status. These fields are not required. Currency. Okay, let's keep this one. Now I will add one more field which calculates the total budget. So budget utilization. That is something we need to add it here. So I will do this one. We have one function here, so which can be used to calculate the price. So I'll take this particular division. So just type div control space, you will get the existing function. So this kind of functions also you can use at the CDS view level. So if you look at this function, what are the arguments we see here? So argument 1, argument 2, and a decimal. So it is expecting 3 parameters. So we need to pass them. So we need to calculate the total price divided by 1000 into 100. Right, that is how we calculate the percentage, right? So total price divided by 1000. So what is the total price? That is per purchase document divided by 1000, and if you multiply it by 100, you will get the percentage, right? That is what you need to specify here. So it takes 3 arguments. So I'll say total price into 100 divided by 1000. And how many decimals you want to display? I would like to show it as a 2 decimal points. Okay, as budget. I'll give a name for this, budget usage. Okay, so I'll activate this. Now let me check the utilization field value. So I see. So what is the total price for this one? Which is $100, and it is set 10%. Okay, if I look at the other purchase document, we have $250, which is 25%, and which is $2,000. Out of it consumed 200%. Okay, so more than 100% it consumed. Okay, now the next step is we need to add the annotations for this one as well. Okay, so let's add the annotations as well. So right click, metadata extension, let's provide the same name, and view budget utilization metadata. Click on next and finish. So all we need to do is add just UI line item annotation for purchase document and created by it. So whatever the other fields which are there, right, we can add as it is. So but only field that we need to worry about is the budget usage, right? That is something we need to make it as a bar chart. So let me add the metadata file extension true annotation as well. Core, and insert all the elements. Save this. So I'll add the required annotations. So what are the values I want to see here? If I see my list bar, we have the date created on purchase document and the budget utilization. So let me add the purchase description as well. So I'll say UI line items. I'll add the purchase document first and label purchase document. So one question here for everyone. So for this purchase document, if I do not add the label, so how the label is considered, where the label will be picked? Can anyone tell me? So suppose I did not add the label here. Okay, so without any end user text label or anything. So how does the description picked? Where does description picked? Correct, exactly. It's a data element. So what are the data elements, the description that you maintain, that will be considered as a description here. So you can also have your description, purchase document, and we'll add the other annotations for created by and all. So total price we do not require. It's required. You can show currency. I think I'm not showing here. Okay, let me remove. Description is I'm not showing. Let me add the description. Position and 20 label description. I do not want these fields status because we are already having one card, right, specific to status and all, so not required here. So I'll add for created by, and also created on. I'll say label created on. So budget usage is a critical one. Let's keep that. Remove other fields. So this is where we need to add a specific annotation for budget view in order to show that as a bar chart. First thing is we need to highlight this one, so I'll make it as a data point. What is the title for this one? It would be overall budget. What is the value format? You need to specify the number of fractional digits. It would be always 2 for this value, and we have to maintain a value here. So what is the minimum value you want to consider and what is the maximum value you want to consider? That is what we need to mention here. So it should be always, we are considering 1 to 100, right, the percentage calculation. So let's keep that in that range. And now we need to mention the criticality. So this is where it comes to this particular picture. So based on the criticality that you specified, the colors will be changed. So if the values are within the range, that would be green, and if it crosses the threshold limit between 80 to 100, that will be yellow, and if it crosses 100, it will be red. So how do you specify those values? So this is where we specify the criticality values. So say criticality calculation, yeah, this is the one. So improve direction, say minimize, and so here we need to specify the total. So the tolerance range high value here. So tolerance range value here is 80. That means till 80 it is okay. We can show it as green value. So once this is crossed, this total 80, when you specify this one, that will be converted into yellow color. Okay, that will show it as a yellow color. So what is the deviation when you want to highlight this as a red? When it is deviated from the range of high value that I have specified here. Okay, so based on this, my value will be shown. So if you specify tolerance range high value, that means it can tolerate till 80. From it is crossing more than 80, then it will show it as a yellow between 80 to 100, and if it cross deviation range high value, which is 100, it will show it as a red color. Okay, because this is a range that we have maintained for this one. So based on this, we are specifying. So at what instance it could change the color based on the values which we have specified. Okay, so that's it for this one also. And let me just a second. Okay, it got locked. SM12. Okay, I have activated this one. This is done. So 3 charts we have already added. Sorry, 2 charts, which is donut chart and the list bar chart. So these are the main charts that you want to show. You can also add the pending for approval that we will add. So for now, what I will do is, or let's take a break. I will add the purchase documents for pending for approval as well. So it's just a simple, your consumption view which contains a list of values with line item values. We do not show any bars or anything, right? That is fine. So we are done with this one. All we need to do is we have to create the service definition, and also we have to create a service binding. That service binding we are going to consume from Business Application Studio. Okay, so that we will discuss in the next class, sorry, in the next hour. So for that, till then, let's take a 10 minutes break. Let me add the slide so that when you're visiting this video again, you can skip this particular. Okay. Let's take a break. Yeah. So I'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay, everyone. So I'm back. Hear me? And I have unmuted everyone. Please let me know if you have any questions so far. We can discuss. So far we have added the serious views and the required annotations for our cards. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding the, whatever we have discussed so far. Okay, I think we are good. So let me start creating the service definition and bindings, and I'll open Business Application Studio and try to consume them. And if anything goes wrong, we'll see, try to debug. Okay. So I just wanted to see if all the annotations are there. Document priority, status, measures, dimensions, KPI values, and budget usage. Okay, so we have to add one more annotation here, which is, oh, again it's locked. Let me unlock it. Seriously got locked. I'm trying to remove that because of the session limitations. Okay. Yeah, so we have added this data point view annotations, but this data point should be binded here in my line item. So that is what I need to specify here. So I'll say the label should be budget usage, and what is the type? It should appear as a data point. That's it. Date as data point and activate. Now I have to create a service definition. Right click on your package, new service definition, click on next and provide the service definition name. I'll say OVP app, OVP application, click on next, next and finish. So we have to add all the UI annotations which are here, sorry, the consumption annotation as well the interface annotation that we have used. Okay, so please don't forget that, and expose. I'll add this one, and also I'll expose the filter. Filter is already there. I'll expose budget utilization. Save, and also I'll add the interface views which I have consumed. Also the interface view that we have added as part of your F4 help also should be there. Then only your F4 help, come into the picture, or else no. So I'll add that F4 help as well. Expose this F4 help. I'm adding only F4 help for my status. Okay, please remember that. So you can take that as an exercise to add one more filter based on purchase priority. So what are the other views I need to add? So I have to add the views underlying or consumption view, and also for status I have consumed one, so this is the same, that is fine. And also for budget I have used this one. I'm going to add that as well. Save and activate. Let me check if there are any underlying serious view that needs to be added here. So this is the main view, that is fine. And this is on top of pure document total price. So it is on top of another. This is also on top of my existing only, then no, fine. So we have already exposed those all views which are there, and I will try to create the service binding for the same. So I give this a name as service OVP app, service binding OVP app. Click on next. So binding type, anyway, you know, right? So we have to specify it as V2, and the service definition, for which service definition you are creating, and finish. Okay, so now activate your binding, then only you will get an option to I think it's already there, publish local endpoint. Yeah. So we have this view, save it. So let me add, so we have some associations right here. So if I go inside this and I see some associations are also attached here, so let me add them as well in my service definition. Expose, so that these will also get exposed so that we can use them if necessary. Where is the other one? F3, and we have this one as well. Because for our consumption view, which is purchase status VH, I believe this is the serious view, so we have to export that as well. Activate and refresh. Okay, so that's it. And now, so I just want to look at my F4 help. How does it look before I consume this one, just to test it here. So I'll double click here and see if I'm able to get the F4 helps. Yeah, I can see the F4 helps here. So it is binded to my consumption view. What is the status that we have added? So what is the F4 help that we have added for this one? We have added for status. So let me try to search for status. I'll say hi or created. Yeah, closed. With C I get, so when I'm tapping, I'm able to get the statuses as well. That is fine. So when I click on F4 and do status and I select, click on OK, I'm able to get the values as well. Here it is showing object deleted. So let me see why it is not binded. Okay, I'm giving priority. So actually it is status only. So we have to give the status value. That's why you're not getting that value. So let me give that. So this is how you can test individually serious view before you consume them. Okay. Save and activate and refresh this app. Now let me try to search. Yes, I'm getting, so I'm able to see the value here. Okay, so because the value which I have binded here from this one, it is a different field, it is not finding that one. That's the reason. So when I click on here, then I can also search here based on close. So I'll get the values. Okay, now my filter is ready, and let me check for the other values. Purchase priority status, if it is coming with the required values or not. I'll test that one as well. Priority status V1. Since I did not add any UI line items, it will not show. So I will select from here. I'll see just to check whether the data is coming properly or not. Okay, we have these three. That is fine. Now, yeah. So these fields, I mean, all the consumption views are working properly now. So all we have to do is we have to consume this service in my business application studio. Okay. So for this purpose, what we have done is, so it is a very time consuming process, and also we will run into different issues. So what we have done, we have created a document. I think we have already shared this one. Can you, anyone please confirm? Just if you guys received this document, deploying app to on-premise system from Business Application Studio. No. Okay, so okay, that's good. So we'll share this document, but I'll still go and explain what are the steps which are required to connect your on-premise system to your trial account, and how do you attach your service, your system details there, and consume your service from Business Application Studio and deploy to your back to your on-premise system. So every detail documentation I have done. So what are the steps that we need to perform? So 8 steps involved. Okay, so 8 steps involved. In this one, first, as usual, we need to have a SAP Cloud Connector, and also we have to connect our cloud platform trial account which you already have to your SAP Cloud Connector, and then we have to add your on-premise system and provide whatever the roles which are required. So every detail I have given. So these are the 8 steps you need to perform. Okay, so I have described about how to install a cloud connector, how do you set up your on-premise in cloud connector and attach to your cloud platform and consume your service. And yeah, so if I just briefly explain, so we have SAP Cloud Connector which is installed. So we'll download from the link and you'll install that in your system. Okay, and you'll specify the port number. So this is how you access your cloud connector. So once you install that, you'll specify what is the Java installment, Java path that is there. So once it's done and it will be installed, most of the cases when you're trying to access, even though it is installed, when you're trying to access the cloud connector, so once it is installed, you will get an icon here. Like if I try to search for that, I'll get an icon here, Start Cloud Connector. I will run it as an administrator. Okay, once I run it as an administrator, by start, Cloud Connector will start. You will not get any information here. So how do you know whether my Cloud Connector is started? So you will try to access this one with localhost 8443. So then you will get a warning here like this. So don't worry, and you click on Proceed Localhost. Now you will be able to see the SAP Cloud Connector. So this is the confirmation when you start the Cloud Connector and you try to access this URL localhost 8443. So then you get this particular screen. Then you can say that your Cloud Connector is ready. Okay, some people will get this information like this site cannot provide the secure connection. So you'll not get this screen. For that, you can do these settings, the troubleshoot, whatever we have explained here to get the idea. So then you'll get. So when you log in for the first time, it will always username and manage password. So that is how you need to log in when you're logging for the first time. So when you downloaded the Cloud Connector, all you need to do is when you need to change your password, and then you have to connect your trial account here. Okay, so this is my trial account that I'm using right in SAP Cloud Platform. Those details we need to provide here. Make sure that whatever the region that you have selected, whether US or Europe, and you have to take your sub account ID so you can find it in your space. So then in that, once you connected your SAP Cloud Platform to your Cloud Connector, then we have to add your on-premise system to the cloud so that these get connected both. We are just binding those both here, SAP Cloud Connector to on-premise. So we add your ABAP system with all the HTTP details and server details. That is fine. So once you are done, when you click on this, you will get a icon here. So let me log in and show you. Okay, so here you need to add your system, which is I have already added. Here you can see, and if I go to receipt trial, so my status is connected, and here you need to add your on-premise system. So I have already added our system. When I click on this, you will get the details that this is successful. So if you want to add new on-premise system, you can click here and provide the details that we have shown in the document here. So on-premise system also connected to your cloud connectors, and so you need to provide some roles accordingly in your trial account. If it is missing in your sub account, that is also we have provided how to add the roles and all. The main thing is we need to connect yours. So you have added your cloud. So the next thing is we need to connect to your system. So that is what we need to understand how to do that. Just a second, guys. Let me reshare. I have one PPT which explains, the concept. Yeah, I'll reshare just a second. Yeah, I got it. Let me reshare. Okay, hope you're able to see my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen? Yes, thank you. Yeah. So this is how it is. So we have on-premise system and we have the cloud connector here. Okay. So this cloud connector we have installed and we have added our on-premise system as well to this cloud connector. Now we need to establish a secure connection by this. So we need to add connectivity details in my cloud, SAP Cloud Foundry sub account. So this is one session and this is one. So we are done with the left part, how to add the NetWeaver system to your cloud connectors. So according till here, okay. Till here we are done. Now the next step is we need to add that connect that particular system to our cloud platform. So when you go inside your trial account after you're adding the rows which are required, and you see one icon. Sorry, on the left side you can see some information like destination. Okay, connectivity destination within your trial account. So let me show that as well. Till it loads, if I go here, yeah. So in the destination, when you enter your trial account on the left side, you see the destination. Here you need to specify your on-premise system details. Okay. So we have to give a name for that, and also what is the URL that you have given, the virtual URL for your actual URL in your SAP Cloud Connector. Proxy type, basic authentication, your user details, and these are all the properties you need to add when you're creating the destination within your cloud platform account. So all the details are given. You can simply copy paste and activate. Okay, so you get, so this is important. Even though when you successfully add it, so you will test by clicking this particular icon. You still get this error. This is some bug which is already there with from cloud platform. Do not worry about this. Even though it shows like this, could not check at the moment. It is actually connection established. So all we need to do is log into a business application studio and consume that. So let's do that task. So this is how, so you connect to your destination here, the secure tunnel will happen. So you consume your Fury app via this connectivity from your SAP Cloud Platform account. Okay. Now let me open my business application studio, which is already there. Let me go back. So I'll open my Business Application Studio. So you just need to log into your trial account and you will see the option there. Okay, you see the screen. Enter your trial account. On the left side, you see the SAP Business Application Studio. So previously, we used to have SAP Web IDE here. That is, the trial account is now no more available from November 19th, I guess. So we have to use SAP Business Application Studio only. So here, if you click here, and you will get your Business Application Studio. And when you enter your trial account, you can see here, right? So when you go to your space, on the left side, you can see the destinations which are already configured. So my Business Application Studio is running. Okay. So connectivity, destination. Okay, some internet error is there, but I have already added the systems. You can see the list of systems I have added with the name. Okay. So this is my Business Application Studio. So when you open for the first time, okay, it will ask for you to create a dev space. It is some kind of a space where you can create your application, like a physical storage, right? So if you look at my documentation, also this is clearly specified. If you are logging for the first time, you need to create a dev. Clicking on this and you choose the required option and you will get this option just like how I am getting. Okay, so you have to start it and you'll see the status as running. When it is running, you just click on this and your environment gets open. Okay, my Business Application Studio is getting started. Okay, here at the bottom you can see the status that it is required, installing all the required properties which are required and also all the scripts which have to be run by. So it's just preparing your development environment. Let me close if I have opened it any other system. Run this and you'll get your space here. Okay, so by default I have changed the theme to this kind of color. Don't worry if you get a different theme here, so that's not a matter. Now what I need to do is I need to create my application, right? So first I need to create a file from template. So go to file, click on new project from template. So this will give you the options whether you want to create a Fiori element app or based on Fiori elements of what kind of application you want to create or not. Okay, so this is the one. You can create your SAP freestyle applications, multi-target application or not. So we are focused on SAP Fiori elements, right? So via ABAP RESTful programming models, we can create your SAP Fiori elements application. So you can click on that to get more information. You see what are the Fiori elements, what kind of applications you have. Okay. Now I'll select Fiori elements and click on next. So I need to select what kind of application I want to create, whether it is a list report, this is something which we already done, whether it is a work list application or overview page application. So this is what we are trying to create. Select this one, click on next. So here we need to select to which system you would like to connect, whether you want to connect to a OData service directly. So I can just simply specify the URL, okay, which is already there in my system. If I go back to my Eclipse, here I can see this is the URL of my application, this service. When I click on this service URL, I'll get the information, the entities which are part of my service. This, with IP address, I can specify this entire URL and it will, I can consume, but that is not a secure way because we expose our credentials. That's the reason we will go for our destination which is already configured. So that's why we need to connect to a different SAP system. and it will give you the list of systems which are already configured in your trial account. So I have my S4HANA, which I have configured this system, which we have, for the training. This is what I have configured there. So when I select this one, so according to the connection that we have made, it will try to connect to the systems based on the IP address or whatever we have done, and it will bring out all the services which are there in my on-premise system. Okay, all I have to do is I need to select the my service name. So I just copy this one, I'll try to paste it here, and I see this here. So gRishi SB OVP and OData V2. So I'm selecting my service, and click on next. So as I mentioned, filter entity is mandatory. So I can specify the filter entity here. What is that one? Filter. Click on next. So here we can specify the module name or whatever. So mandatory fields which are required. So I can specify this as OVP V1. I'll say the app title, purchase document overview, namespace is optional, and you can specify the description, purchase document overview app, and keep the project folder path as it is and click on finish. So it will generate the required application for us. So in that we need to add our card. So it is installing all the dependencies which are required. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, so the project is done. So let me open it in a new workspace that will open only my project within my Business Application Studio. Okay, let me open directly. I'll select from my project directly. So we'll have direct options to execute the applications and all instead of doing like this. So this is in the project I have this one. So OVP1 is my project. Okay, OVP V1 is the project name. So this is my project which got created when I'm consuming this service. So let me try to execute this one and see whether I'm able to see the filter here. We haven't added any cards till now. Okay, so I'll click on preview application, just right click, preview application. There is one command which gets executed. So just select that, start Fury run. You can also open the commander and type the same command and click on enter. It will do the same thing, but directly you can click on preview application and do that. Right now we have only filter. There are no cards added yet. Okay, let me expand this. Yes, I'm able to see my filters. Let me test here if my filters are working. Click on F4. Yes, I have this one. Let me search. Close. Yes, this is also working. Yeah, so this filter looks good. Now what I have to do is I need to add the cards. So this is where it gets interesting in Business Application Studio. So when I right click here, there is an option called Open Guided Development, SAP Fury Tools. So what exactly this will do is, when I right click here, so it will help you to add the required code for your particular fields in your CDS views. Okay, whether it could be a list report page or whatever. So we are concentrated on overview page. So all we have to do is we need to add a list card here. So analytical card here, sorry. So analytical card is something that we are going to add. So for that we need to add some properties to our JSON file. Okay, so we as an ABAP developer, we are not familiar with UEFI, files or whatever which are there right now, right? So just to make it easier, or someone who are already SAP UEFI, they do not know how to add analytical card. All they have to do is they usually add the code in the JSON format, JSON file or wherever required. But this guided development tool, what it will do is it will help you to build such logic, whatever the XML file or whatever the properties that are supposed to be added. It will help you to create those annotations or properties via this particular guided development. It will make your job easy. So for suppose if I have to add my analytical card, so I'll click here. So it will give you the information about what is analytical card and all, so what is the chart type and all. So I'll click on start guide. Now if you look at here, my model, it is already selected as main service. Okay, my service name. So here I need to select what is the entity I want to bind it here. Also, if you look at the below part here, you see there is an editor here. Not the editor, there is a display here. So this is the piece of code which is required to show something as a card. But right now these fields are with some default values. Okay, so as soon as I select a value, okay, suppose I want to bind PO status V1 to my donut chart. So now I can see the entity set is changed to my selected value. So by default, what are the selection that I made for the required field values, it is getting binded here. Now if I select the unique ID, if you see the card here, there is no name here. So if I add, you can see the values are getting changed here. If you see here on the below, so that is how it is automatically, whatever the boilerplate code which is required, so it is giving it for you. So I'll make it as card 01. Title, you can specify this as purchase documents. You can see the values also getting changed below. And what is the subtitle you want? I'll say by status and priority. And also what is the presentation variant for our KPI? So this is our KPI annotation which we have already added. So those annotations will show up here. Okay. Chart annotation. So we have these two different annotations for charts. So for now we'll add one only, priority. So what is the data point? We have sum of documents which we have already added as added as an annotation. What is the chart type you want to specify? So it will be my donut chart. So here you can see all the values that got populated. So now you might be wondering, okay, now the code is ready, where do I keep it? So that is also will take care by the guided development. All you have to do is click on apply, and this will insert the code in which file it is required. So very cool, right? So I'll click on apply. So that will insert the code which is required in the overview page JSON file which is in my project. So let me check that. So I'll navigate to my web app and I see the manifest JSON file. I'll scroll down and I can see this card is added, with all the required fields. Okay, so this is good. Now execute it whether we are able to see the card. So we have binded my CDS view which is required and added the annotations, everything. Now let's execute this particular application. Right click, preview application, run the command. So it will open this particular app. So for the first time if you are executing this app, you may get a pop-up blocker here. Please click on allow to open this pop-up blocker and restart your application. Then only you will get it in a new window. So let me check, my filter is ready and my card is also ready. Yes, perfect. So I have these values which are 2 medium and 1 high priority. Okay, so I have also the filter, and now what I need to do is, this is fine, but my target is to show with switch view, right? So I want to have a switch view here with status and priority. So based on that, I can look at the statuses. Okay, so for that we need to add few more code to your application. So this is something we need to take care, because by default it was giving add only one chart, right? Based on the filter, based on the switch view, right? So in BAS it was allowing only one view here. So I want to have one more view for preview as well. So what I will do is we need to make some tweaks to the JSON file. So let me right click, navigate to my JSON file. So there is one property we need to add. So what is that property? Chord 01. Okay. So here I'll add tabs here. So these tabs I'll keep it in my system within my tabs space. So I'll keep this one inside this, save this, and let me remove this one. So okay, so I introduced one more property called tabs, which can be shown as a view here within my donut chart. So right now we have only priority. Let me check how it looks right now. Right click, preview application. So this should have a view here. And yes, so I can see a switch here, view here, but I do not see any values here. Okay, so we need to specify the values there as well. And I'll say value. I'll add this as purchase document. So what is the field which is there? Purchase status. Purchase status. Now let me save it, and it automatically gets refreshed. Let's see if you will see the purchase status in this particular drop down. Yeah, so now I'm able to see the value. So I have only one. Now I need to add for priority as well. So priority is not this. So all you have to do is separate it by comma and add the same values with your purchase priority. So I'll look at my CDS view. What is the priority field value, which is, sorry, I'll go to my metadata file, because those fields only we have to map it, right? So I'll go to metadata file. So from the chart I can see, let me close this. Okay, so we have binded this identification annotation, presentation annotation, chart, and all these, right? So if you look at this chart, purchase priority is the chart. So if you look at this one, so this is the one we have binded, the qualifier. So qualifier is the one which got binded here. And also, what is the data point annotation path, which is some of the documents that we have specified as a KPI. And also for identification, so if there is any identification annotation, we have already added for purchase document as well. So all we have to do is we have binded my KPI as well as a qualifier. So here we need to change it to purchase status. We have already binded priority. Sorry, status we have already binded, right? I believe priority we have already binded. So it should be purchase priority. And here it will be purchase status, and we need to copy this purchase document status qualifier and paste it here for the chart. Some of the documents will stay remain, and the KPI is also the same. And save it and run your application. So as I mentioned, you will not find anywhere this example. So by default, they'll just simply show this. Okay, this is one donut chart we can have. So about RESTful programming also, you do not see this even one single view with donut chart. Okay, now yeah, so we have got purchase priority and purchase status as well. So let me try to click on status. Yes, so the status is also getting changed. So for closed, there is one, open there is one, process there is two, open. So or each one have one. So here you see the key of the status, not the count of the status. Okay, count of the status we see it here. Okay, so I can switch my view based on the drop down that is available here. Okay, interesting, right? So at the same time, I can also filter based on my priorities. I'll say closed, and when I select it, you should get the status which are in priority only, 3 only. Let me select here, closed. Okay, so this is not getting filtered. So we need to find out the reason why this is not happening. So I'll go back to my CDS view and I'll say look at my filter. So what is the filter's name here, which is purchase status, but here I see in the particular column which is purchase status. Let me give the same name. So it's getting loaded. Is it locked again? Hope it's not locked. Yes, so we have added the same name. Save this, and just a second, what is the error? Activate. Let me refresh the app. Yeah, so now I can see the same value. So based on selection that you have done, you will get the required details. So if you observe, this is a live status, okay, live change. As soon as you change the status, automatically the request happens to this particular CDSU. If I select in process, the moment I do the selection, it automatically the filter gets applied. Okay, this is not, you need to select, enter the values and click on go. You can, so it's a live change. As soon as there is a change happens, a request goes to the backend to fetch the details. Okay, so this is about the donut chart. So what is the next chart? We have list bar. So I'll right click here, same thing we have to do. SAP Fury tools, sorry. I have to navigate to my object page section. So I want to add a list card here, start guide, and by default you will get mind service. If you do not get this, please refresh. Okay, sometimes you may get that issue. So here I need to add budget utilization. What is the card number? I'll say card 02, and I'll say the title as budget utilization. Okay. Now click on apply. So that will be inserted wherever required. Save this and go back to your manifest.json file and look at the end. You can see there is one more card 02 and we have this information. Just a second. Let me check settings if there is anything I can add. Yeah, list flavor we have to add. By default it will not show, so we have to add the list flavor as path. Save it and go back here, click on refresh, click on preview application. Let's see. So for now we are adding only 2 cards. Okay, so you can add further annotations or further consumption view to the existing interface view or whatever and add your annotations. But basically for donut chart and this particular budget utilization, we were required to add good amount of annotations. That's the reason it's coming. So okay, so we have this budget utilization as well. So you can, if you try to expand this, let me try. So there are only few records. You can also arrange your cards like this. Okay, if you look at this one in tablet view, this is how it looks. So in this way they can see the application in an iPad or whatever it is. Yeah, so you can add one more annotation, one more card as well here. So right now I see only the purchase document here on the budget utilization. Let me check why the other fields are not coming, so that will be good. So budget usage created on purchase document line position we have added. Purchase document just 1000 and this one, and budget usage as data point. So let me try to close this one. Is it because of the width? List type is there, or so I'm just trying to find out if there is any property so that I can expand the card to show the required fields as well. Flavor. Oh. Selection is not there. What else we have? Category, palette, extend, list type. Let me check. Extended. Okay, save it and let me relaunch the app again. Okay, so we have added 2 cards, and the other one we can create one more, pending for approval for a purchase document. So all you need to do is, I will send you the clue as well how to create the consumption view. All you need to do is create all the 3 serious views at a time. Okay, so then you can try to consume that. Yeah, so now I can see the description as well when I increased, when I added this particular property, which is list type extended. Okay, so let me try to do this way. Yeah. Okay, so we have these 2 purchase document cards, overview cards, and you can see the bar charts based on the value that is there. The what do you call this particular strength of this bar is also showing the minimal length. Okay. Now the next step is, so I have added only 2 cards. Okay, so similarly we can add the other cards like list, flavor, and output types. All you need to do is right click here, Fury Tools Open Guided, and go to Overview Page section, because it is already giving you the flavors which are required. So now go to List Card and select what are the serious view that you want to bind here. Just show a simple card like a list card. You do not have to make it as a bar chart. Okay, and also there is one more called table card. You just create a simple serious view with line item user interface annotation, so it will show up like this. Okay, there's nothing complex, those 2 cards, list card and with a normal table card. So list card you can show the list of items, in table card you can show the list of purchase orders, just like this. Now the next step is we need to deploy this application. So this is another interesting part. Now we have this application. So in order to deploy the application, there are only 3 things you need to perform. So first one is, so once you are done with this application creation, so I have already created one document how to consume the application, how to run your application, and also so we need to execute 3 simple commands to deploy the app. So first one is npm install, and right click on your project and open in terminal. So this is where you can execute your commands on top of this project. So now I'll click on npm, so I'll run this command npm install. So that will generate all the required files or whatever required for for deployment. And also there is one more command which is npm run build. This is the one which also creates all the required files. npm install also does the required generation for this particular project. So now build succeeded, this is also done. And now the other command is, you can see in the document, which is ABAP deploy. ABAP deploy. Now it show you some default path here. If I go to my project file, when you build the app, okay, when you run that command npm run build, it will create a folder underscore destination. So dist. So this is where the required details will be there. So now you just need to specify the source folder. So just keep it whatever it is there already. Just press enter, and it will show up the. So this is my cloud system which is already connected, and this is my on-premise system which is already there. So I'll choose it pressing arrow marks up and down. Click on, I'll choose my S4 HANA which is already configured to my backend system. So what is the application name? I'll give it as purchase overview app. Enter. So it should not be more than 15 characters. So I'll enter, I'll remove the remaining characters, OVP. And what is the description of the app? Purchase overview application. On enter. So in which package you would like to keep this particular app? So I'll give this particular package which I have created, and I'll copy this and give the same package here. Enter. And when you give a package, it will ask for the transport request as well. So let me check what is the transport request. So let me check where exactly this is getting saved. Just click on next. What is the transport it is asking for? Okay, this is SY2 can I copy this? So I'll type it here, S52 K900132. So I have to specify this particular transport, the system name and K900 and 132. 132. So this is a request. You will get this error, okay? So the app name property value must start with ZZ1. So that means you cannot specify the app name starting with whatever you want. So here you can see application name purchase OVP, right? So I'll start with ZZ1 as it is suggested. I'll say purchase OVP. Click on next. Sorry, so we have to start the deployment again. So ABAP deployment, deploy, and it asks for the same details again, asks you to select the system and also asks for your application name. So this is where you need to specify ZZ1 purchase OVP. Con enter purchase overview page the application. Click on enter, and what is the package you want to store it? That is this one. What is the request you want to deploy? And this one SY2 K90013. It is correct. This is 00132. Yes, SY2 K. Yeah. Enter. So now the deployment started here. So you can see the purchase OP application is being deployed to ABAP in create mode. Okay. So that's it. So your application will be deployed to an on-premise system, and you need to verify in the on-premise system whether it is installed there, and that the required people will configure that particular application to their Fury, Tails or whatever. So you get this particular error. So whenever you get this particular error, what you need to do is you rerun this application. So first time you may get this error. When you rerun, so things will be fine. Select the on-premise and the transport. SY2 K90013. Yeah, now you can see this UF application has uploaded and registered successfully. So where do I check this? You log into your on-premise system and go to SE80. Sorry. Okay, caps lock is on. SE80 and check for the category BSP application here, BSP application, and provide your application name here. So what is the application name? Which is where is it? ZZ1. So let me type that. ZZ1 star. So I get the application. So this is the one I have deployed, purchase OVP. So this is successfully deployed. So with all the files or SAP UIFA code, everything, the annotations and all. So this is something that will be configured in catalog or whatever. So which is required for the Fury Tail configurations. From here, the job start, they'll configure this particular app to the tails. Okay. Now when they click, this particular application gets executed. So this is admin job. The security team, whoever is going to configure those details. Okay. So our job is to deploy the application to the on-premise system. Okay. So that's it. So this is how you can maintain your application like this. You can deploy them in your on-premise system. So we have successfully created this particular app and deployed into our on-premise system. For the same app, you can add a couple of cards like table card and list card as an exercise. Yeah, you can also try to deploy in your on-premise system. Okay, so this is about for today's session. I'll take some questions if you have any.
Rishi, go ahead. Go ahead. I can wait.
Hi, Rajesh. I have a few questions. So, in this services concept works only for 1909, but if we want to do this analytical page before 1909, we do only OData published true, right? But we have the individual CDS views for each CDS we will publish with different OData published true. So it will be different services. So if you want to add different services into single app as a cards, is it possible?
Okay, so you mean to say in before 1999 we have to create a separate CDS view for everyone, right?
Yes.
I believe since SAP Web ID is enabled for customer usage, right? They can access those services and do it. In Business Application Studio, I do not see that option to consume in every service. But what I believe is, if I go to manifest JSON file, so maybe here you may have to add the required properties for that.
Okay.
So which for which entity?
Okay.
Sorry?
Okay. Carry on.
Yeah, for which for a particular CDS view, what is the service you want to consume and all those details.
Okay.
Yeah. But I haven't done that because it's specific to 1909, right? So we are.
Okay. So one more question. This one, we can do this. See, BAS is nothing but just like a Visual Studio, right? So without Cloud Connector, if we have a Visual Studio in our laptop, so how do we connect our on-premise system to Visual Studio? Is there any document for this one?
Yeah, so we have already Visual Studio. It is similar to like this only, just like how we have done, right?
Without Cloud Connector, personal web ID, we add the file configurations in the folder and keep it in one folder, right? Just like that, is there any option to link the system to Visual Studio directly without Cloud Connector?
Yes, it is there. So you can specify the credentials which are required, right? So when you try to connect to the system, it will ask you want to connect to SAP system. Then it will ask the credentials of those SAP systems and all. So user ID, password, the IP address.
Yeah, just like how we connect. How we connect to personal web ID by placing a folder.
Folder is not required. So for suppose this is my app, right? So this is my Visual Studio. So I click on next.
How can I make
who are not aware,
here?
Yeah, just a second. For those who are not aware, this is a Visual Studio, which is a desktop version. So you do not have to log into your cloud, okay? But here we need to personally install it within your system and require all the npm install files and everything required we need to install. So you can directly consume from here. So you can specify you want to connect to SAP system.
Yeah. How can get the list of my system here?
Yeah. New system, okay? Type, it is an on-premise system. You can specify the URL and it will directly connect. Okay, you do not have to get the list. You can simply specify it is a new system. It will ask for the credentials of the system and URL details.
Okay, I need to give the URL of the system. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions, please?
Hey, Rishi, this is Venkata.
Hi.
Hi. For example, if I wanted to enhance the existing standard apps, will it be a Z standard app, and how it will be the extension to be done at CDS level? Same service can be used, a new service to be created. Yeah,
I can explain you the concept how it happens. So coming to enhancements in Fury application, there is an in-app extensibility. Okay, so what they will do, the customer will give you that options, in-app extensibility. So using that tool, we have key user performance tools. what are the required people who are the access to that particular applications. Suppose this is my standard Fury app, okay? Directly they'll get an option called spiral option here, enhance. So when they click on here, so by default within the app, what are the new fields that you want to add, that will show up here. So they will, suppose if I want to, let's say this is a form, we have this OVP application, right? Let's say we have form like which have a sales order number, details, editable fields, right? You want to add one more field to that. So you will get an option to add, plus icon. That will show you from which dictionary object, from which CDS view you want to add this field and all. So by default, automatically, it will give you the option to add and all. That you can check. So the tools, so overall they use a different tools, which are key user performance, key user tools, and also in-app extensibility concept. Within the Fury itself, you can add your new fields that are required. So you can check. I'll tell you the resource where you can, do a demo on that. So which is S4 HANA Cloud Trial. So people who want to have a flavor of this, right? So they can get a trial account here, okay? So they will give you a demo on how to, add a new field to your existing application using that particular tool, okay? I'm just giving information. I do not show right now. It's time consuming. You can try S4 HANA Cloud Trial version and log in there. You can add your details. Check that option, okay?
Okay.
So basically the final point I want to mention is there are some tools which are required, you can directly use. When you apply from the UI itself, that will be added to your CDS views, or CDS views also we have to add by using that particular spiral icon, whatever you see here. Okay, so that kind of information will be there.
Okay.
So in standard views only you can add those fields. You don't have to create one. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions, please?
Rishi, this is Suman. Got a few questions. This KPI, do we always have only one, or can we have multiple, or what's the best practice?
Yeah. So as far as KPI, it is always have to have a better one. So suppose we are looking at a particular analytical card which shows the sales orders revenue, right? So the main highlight will be how much revenue it has for all the sales orders. That kind of information we can highlight as a KPI. So as far as it is only one, I believe.
Okay. And going back to this F4 help, we put that object value help. What if I'm using a data element and it has a search help? Do I need to specify all that, those annotations, or would it automatically come?
So annotation is compulsory to show it as an F4. So we have to bind it in a different way. Just by adding two data element, it won't work.
Okay.
So we should have a separate CDS view for that help.
Sure. And you showed us how to deploy the app, right? And what if, let's say, businesses you need to go back and change the description? Do we have to run the same steps again? And if we are already deployed?
Yeah, so you can go back to your business application studio and you can change, rerun the steps again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Just to add one more, you said what if there is already values in a data element, right? So usually, how the approach will happen, right? Suppose for the F4 help, so the question was, suppose my F4 help is already having some, let's say we have some domain has some fixed values, right? So you have to find.
Sorry. So if we have specified a search help at my domain level, the further characteristics and over there.
Okay, that will not possible. That's not possible. So my scenario I'm talking about is if there are domain values for your data element, so how you can expose that in F4 help. So that you can create. So we have one table, right, which will store the fixed values for that particular domain. So you just have to create a CDS view on top of the table and retrieve the values from the table and create a CDS view and bind it to the F4 help. Yeah. So any questions, please?
Rishi Prasad here. is there a certification around what we learned here from SAP?
From SAP Art?
Yeah.
I believe no, there is no such kind of certification.
Okay. And the other question I have is how much of this can be done using the SAP HANA Express virtual machine? I don't know if you...
SAP HANA Express is specific to your database, right? So this is ABAP environment with SAP HANA as a backend. That is only individual HANA database. You cannot create. So if you have to create on top of HANA, you have to create HANA artifacts. We have different views in HANA views. HANA views also we have some views related to CDS. That there are different objects you need to create. And you may have to create access services, access OData services within SAP HANA. Just like how we are creating OData service in ABAP, there are some access OData services you can create on top of your views, HANA views. That's totally a different, concept.
But the Fiori, is the Fiori available through that interface or no?
That's a good question. I'm not aware. I mean, the service is available, but when you specify, when you try to consume, there is something we need to do a research on that. Whether we can consume HANA services within BAS. I believe it should be possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm getting one question from Santosh. Every time we need to log into Cloud Connector in our PC by choosing Run as admin. It's just a one-time activity. For the first time, you just need to run, so it will run. When you re-log in, when you shut down your system and re-log in, again you have to run it. If you are not logged off your system or didn't turn off, it's one-time activity. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Hello, Rishi. This is Harry. The question is actually, I have a consumption view. I pasted in the chat box. That consumption view, we need to add a field, one more field called there is no standard price. So that consumption view, it will tell that we can extend this consumption view. How will I know that whether it is possible or not? This consumption view, whether we need to extend the consumption view or not? Is there an annotation will tell like metadata extension? You are giving a metadata extension, right? Is there any annotation which is there?
No. See, for this particular CDS view, you need to check whether we can add an extension for this one. Suppose if you are able to add a new field for this consumption, okay, you can directly add the annotation in the consumption, metadata file. So all you need to do is add this new field that you want to require without disturbing this functionality. Remaining metadata, everything will be same if you manage to add a new field here.
Suppose if I want to add STPRS, that is the standard price. That is the field I need to add.
Yep.
So I go to metadata file, I need to add there.
No, not metadata file. It should be first in the consumption view. Then only you have to add it in the metadata file.
Oh, okay.
Consumption view, it should be available first.
So I need to extend the consumption view, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, hi Rishi. I have one more question. This is Rajesh. In the donut chart card which we have added, we given one text called status. But if you see in standard SAP this one, we can add additional text like if you take revenue, what this is the revenue, this is the target, and this is the deviation in the header of the chart. So what are all can be possible? Do we have any place where we can check what are all the annotations possible for this card?
Yes, you can. You can simply head back to Fiori Elements Guidelines. Here you will get the list of Fiori elements. Suppose if I go to overview page here, you can see how you can add the wide fields and all. So here it will specify all the details here related to. Okay, when to use journal charts, what are the annotations which are required. Okay.
Yeah, I went to this one, but
Whether fixed card layout or whatever.
this is not talking about annotations which we can use in CDS. I didn't find any. So here we nothing. It's just a general process how annotations can be. But what annotations to be used in CDS? Is there any way? Is there anything which is mentioned here?
Okay, you mean to the specific annotations which are required,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, for that we need to be aware of UFI, I believe. So if when you learn UFI, right, theory elements related stuff, there they will teach you the required annotations.
Okay.
So this is purely on the guided development activity. So, but what we can do is, let me check. We have this business application guide, right? Guided tool. This could help you. Like, how do you want to add those fields and all?
Okay.
You may find some information here. Suppose, let's say, yeah, as far as I see here also there is nothing, but we have this analytical card. So these are what are the annotation I have shown, right? So I had to do my own research, like how do I get these fields and all.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm able to find out up to that. Yeah. You can check further.
Fine. Okay. Thank you. One more thing. I was struggling with this Cloud Connect. I installed everything, whatever you mentioned in the document, your document, how if it is not accessing, how to point the Java home, everything. But still, when I run this one, I can see the app that start your Cloud Connector, right click, run as admin, everything is there. But when I enter URL, it is not working. For me, I don't know what mistake I'm doing. For this one, I struggled 3-4 days. For this one, I left. That's why then I moved on to.
I used to have the same problem. So most of the cases, I will not get that URL. So the only thing that I have done is specify installing the Java, SAP JVM, and configuring that to Studio. Then it works for me.
Yeah, I got that this specific document pointing to JVM from one of my friends who attended your previous class. So I had done that one. I think you shared this document in the previous class, so he gave it to me how to do that. But still, that also didn't work for me.
Okay, then it's something we need to connect directly on the system to see what exactly. I see one more person also have faced the same issue. I could not figure it out what exactly went wrong. So what happens is when we are installing writes, there will be multiple times we will be installing. We change the path. Somewhere it will get, settings will get changed to not properly. That's the problem.
Okay.
But I think, we can ping in the chat like in our SAP ad. Someone will collect with you from the team. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And one more question I got from Santosh. AMDP over will be covered. Yes, AMDP will cover in queries next session. That will be on Saturday next week.
Rishi, I have one question for yesterday's class.
Yes.
For the e-tag, changed on is going to contain the latest date and time, right? Like, so how long that will be retained? So supposing if how soon it can be coming to the blank value?
Blank value.
Because initially when the change on value will be blank, right? But
yes.
One person, if he's going to do any changes, then it is going to contain the latest timestamp.
Correct. That we have to take care. We have to update that's changed. Yeah.
Okay, so once it is saved, it is not going to be the simultaneous access. So one person actually does the change, and it is getting saved to the database. So the next person, if he is actually opening that, the changed on will be blank, right?
Changed on will be blank. So when he is trying to navigate, right? Suppose what is the case you're talking about? Parallelly they are trying to edit, or one has already done and again someone is coming?
One is already done and the other one is accessing that.
Okay, then it has to retain the latest updated one. It will not retain that one. When you click on object page, right, So it has to retain the latest value of that one, which is already there.
Okay, so in that case, the saving is not possible, right? Like
It
the
is
data
possible.
record is already
See,
user one has already saved the
record is already saved. With the latest changes is already done. They're not doing parallelly. So once it is done, the next person is continuing the changes, doing new changes. These are not parallel changes. New changes,
Okay.
right?
Okay. So it will
Parallel
happen.
changes should prevent. That is what the ETAG purpose.
Okay, so user 1 is done with the database way. Now user 2 is actually accessing the same record for another
Yes.
sheet. Then in that case, we'll have the latest timestamp of user.
Correct. Correct. He can continue the changes.
Okay, so in that case, the difference, how it will be, like because we need to compare the difference, right? Like the change on with the blank and
This is, yeah, that is the main purpose. The ETAG itself is called optimistic locking. So it comes into the picture only when two people are working parallelly. Okay, suppose you are working and I am working the changes. You have already committed the changes and I am still working on it, and my changes might not require because the changes are already updated by you. Okay, so I have to prevent my overriding your changes because you already done. I should not override your changes, right?
yeah.
At the same time. So that is where ETAG comes into the picture. But in pessimistic logging, once it is already done, we will not allow the user to log in.
So the comparison will not be happening, right? Like once it is, I mean, we need not compare, right? We can actually, I mean, once it is
We need
done,
to implement the read methods that will take care of calling and comparing.
okay.
Just a second. Yeah, please go on. Any doubts? So what we're going to cover in next week is we'll create a query and also we see how to consume an AMDP from a query. And also I'll give you overview how to upload or download your code to the from cloud to your system in Eclipse. Okay, how to upload from Eclipse to cloud and the cloud to Eclipse. So GitHub is the one which will act as a mediator, so we can exchange the code. Yeah, GitHub and queries we are going to discuss with AMDPs. Okay, so that's it for today. So I have already shared the GitHub for the unmanaged transitional application which we have done in the previous class. Let me share that within the chat if anybody interested. Let me go to the repositories. Yeah, so this is the one which I already uploaded for unmanaged transactional app. You can access and ping in the chat. Okay. Okay, everyone, hope you do not have any doubts. So we'll see next week. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great week. Bye.